So today's session is going to be 2 exercises again. We're going to play with the planche variations and I'm going to play with the front splits. For the planche variations, if you're following along, I am going to use P-bars because I'm going to do some work up and down. This can also be done between 2 boxes or 2 chairs. And the front splits will just be whatever level you're at. We're going to slowly progress from the easier options through to the harder options. So obviously just stop at the point that you find it a challenge and do your work in sets there. So let's jump up on the P-bars. Let's warm up the scapula with some pushing up into protraction. Hold it for about 2 to 3 seconds, then coming down into a normal support position and back up again. Now if you struggle with this one, you could do it with tippy toes on the floor. Or if you're on higher P-bars and you can't reach the floor, just put your toes onto a box. And then for the front splits, I'm just going to open up the hip flexors first. So just go into a deep lunge and I'm pushing the hip forwards, going into a strong posterior tilt. Just trying to get into the front of the hip forward. So I'm going to go down and hold for like 10 seconds, just push as hard as I can. So do that 3 times per side. Now the same thing back onto the P-bars, pushing up to protraction. This time trying to bring your body into a tuck position. Now ideally you'll be going towards that tuck planche position and pushing up as high as you can into a ball. If you struggle, we can use the step. So set something up depending on the height of your P-bars. So I'm going to do it without first. So you start from this support position, or you could go from like a tuck L sit. So just like 2 to 3 second holds. So if you struggled with that, use a step of some height. For the front splits, we'll go more into hamstrings. Same lunge position, 90-90. Take one heel out in front of you, making sure this back hip is still on top of the back knee. And I'm leaning forwards as far as I can. So first goal might be hands towards the shins, fingers towards the floor, palms towards the floor, and then try and take head towards the toe or elbows towards the floor. Just trying to lengthen through the spine when you're doing this one, don't down too much. Same thing, 3 lots of 10-second holds. Back on the P-bars, this time I'm going to go into a full tuck planche and hold there for around 10 seconds. If you don't have it, you could use something like a band assist, you could use toe assist on the floor, or you could just push up into protraction as high as you can. Or you could do it on the floor and have tippy toes on the floor and go into a light toe position. So like this. So like a standard protraction hold, but being more into a tuck position. For front splits, going more into like a rec fem, so more quad, hip flexor. So bringing the back foot up. If you can't grab hold of the back foot, you can stick it up on the wall or a step or something. So I'm going to try and grab with both hands. Push the hip forwards, try and open up as well. So the rec fem crosses the knee and the hips. You want to push the hip forwards, posterior tilt, but also pull the heel towards the butt. This one's I'm just going to hold for around 30 seconds per side. For the planche, I'm now going to go L sit through to tuck planche or to an open tuck advanced position and back again. So I'm just going to hold that tuck, open tuck position for about 2 to 3 seconds and go back again. I'm going to get around 3 repetitions. Again, if you can't do this one, go between your L sit and just a swing, bringing the hips up, hold for like a second if you can, and then back again. Just try and keep it controlled in some way. So I'm going to go back into that same lunge position, but this time I'm going to slide out towards front splits. I'm going to use some sort of assistance. So I'm going to use a yoga block because I could get quite close to the floor. You could use like the IKEA steps or something to put your hands on as you come down, but just try and keep the torso upright and try and keep the hips square. So I start in that 90-90 position, but I've straightened the front leg. So obviously the front leg is going to be working more hamstring, the back leg is going to be working more quad hip flexor. So I'm just going out as far as I can. Now if you're tighter, it just means that you might stop in that position and that might be your stretch, which is fine. And then just slowly just try and work deeper and deeper into the position. And I'm going to hold here for around 30 to 60 seconds. So the yoga block just stops me dumping into my hamstring so much because I'm more flexible in my hamstring. And then I can focus on this back hip because that's the bit that tries to twist me out and try to keep this back leg in line with this front hip. Okay, and then back into the planche. This time I'm going to open the planche up into a more of a harder position for me. So like a open tuck flat back position. See if I can hold for around that 10-second mark. If you're joining in, just try and open up into whichever level you can for around that 10-second mark. If it's still staying in the tuck position, that's fine. If he's using band or toe assist, again, that's fine. Just get that time under tension. So in the last split hold, we worked between the knee and the heel and we made that distance bigger and bigger. With this one, I'm going to work from the ball of the foot to the heel, which is a little bit harder. Use a box or some blocks or something to hold on to if you need to just keep your balance. I'm personally going to use these handstand cubes. So your split hold might be here, that's fine. Just work with what you have in terms of range and trying to keep the torso upright. Now this one's a little bit more aggressive, so I'm just going to hold here for 30 seconds. Okay, for the planche, I'm going to do another dynamic set. This time I'm going to go from the L-sit to my hardest position that I can hold. The timer is only going to be like a second. Pause, go back again and see if I can get like 2 to 3 reps of those. I'm expecting to get something like open hip straddle or even flirt with just that full planche position on the first go and then maybe open up to something easier on the second. Front splits, I'm just going to go back to the hardest variation I can and go as deep as I can. For me, it's always that hip flexor I need to try and sort out at the back, so I'm going to try and get into that by turning and pushing down into it. I'm going to spend about 30 seconds on each side. If yours is more hamstring, then obviously focus on just pushing that knee down and getting into that, so staying in this position a bit more, and then you can go towards a front split by focusing on the hamstring. I need to do the opposite. I need to be focusing on this hip flexor as I go down because my hamstrings are happy to open. So just to go with the variation that you need to work on, roughly 30 seconds on each side. So I feel like I've reached my working sets now. So I'm going to do straddle holds, try and get some open straddle holds and try and get around the 5-second hold time. I'm not feeling as strong in the planche as I did the other day when I got some good holds, but I'm still going to try and stay around that 5-second mark for around 5 to 10 more sets. So I recommend you do the same. Just stick with whatever level you're at. Keep resting in that front split position. And let me know down in the comments if you have any questions or any feedback on the videos or any suggestions for any future ones. I'm going to continue with these follow alongs, so make sure you subscribe and I'll be doing the tutorials and stuff as well. Thumbs up would be appreciated and I'll speak to you next time. Thanks guys.